Next question for the entire panel. This past year, in many ways, accelerated innovation, which was exciting for me to see so many things that we've been wanting to happen accelerate across different industries. In more extreme ways, it also changed directions of some entire industries. So when we look at the future of food, we have two questions. One is, what is one way that the industry has been redirected or completely changed? And then what is one way innovation has really been accelerated in the food industry?
This is huge for us because prior to the pandemic, I mean, just our business, we manage a database of $10 billion of institutional food spend, where we're able to see trends across higher ed, K-12, business dining, and healthcare. And so we recognize those trends, and we recognize and see the importance of Gen Z in using their voice and their choice in directing change. What has happened in the last year between the pandemic and the protests and the political landscape and our environment is now Gen Z's message, we're all sitting up straight and we are all listening. And what's so cool is it's become multi-generational. So where that boundary between millennials and Gen Z and baby boomers, that line has come down and we all care about the same thing. We're also seeing like the hospitality space and the institutional space come together to create solutions. We're seeing direct sales to the consumer. And so there is so much innovation and so much creativity that I think Gen Z was driving forward solely as a generation. And now we're seeing this democratization and this and just access to better food and caring, and just this message from Mandy about the SNAP benefits at the farmers market, all these things becoming real and possible, and everybody getting behind it, particularly the tech community. It's very exciting for us.
Well, I think in 2008, when the market crashed, some of the best chefs in the world pivoted to a lot more casual fare, and restaurants like Momofuku and even in my case, Girl and the Goat, were kind of born out of those times. These incredible chefs doing more casual food. So I think what's happened during the pandemic and what has been redirected is a lot of great chefs pivoted to delivery food and even more casual steps. So the consumers won in that regard because everybody was doing delivery food, even restaurants that you didn't have access to before, like Alinea. If you drove down Halsted at about 4 o'clock, it looked like, what is going on? Is there a rock concert going on? There's about 100 cars lined up so people could eat Alinea. And then I think what got accelerated was the chef relationship directly with consumers. And when you look at meal kits specifically, I think there were a lot of people, in our case, Stephanie was doing meal kits that people were getting in their home, and then we would have a link to Stephanie actually cooking the stuff that was in those meal kits so people could follow along with the video, and it became a much more personal experience than just going to a restaurant. People were learning how to cook, were learning that directly from a video with a chef. And so I think there's a whole new way to cook at home, a whole new way to get food at home, which I think is just okay in the short term, but I hope humanity puts them back inside of restaurants very soon, because that's where my real heart lies.
From a redirected within big consumer packaged goods, there's been a flight to familiar. So folks aren't really discovering new brands anymore, which is unfortunate for a lot of the emerging and startup brands. A lot of folks are going back to brands that there's a comfort around, whether it's literal comfort food brands like the Betty Crockers of the world, or McCormick Spices, or even bigger brands like Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper. There's been this flight to familiar. But since Kevin stole my thunder on the other one, the other thing I'll say is there's been a real issue with food inequality that I think the pandemic has highlighted, which I'm hoping is, obviously food inequality is not a good thing, but I'm hoping the fact that the pandemic has brought to light the fact that many people across our country, let alone our world, are going hungry, yet farmers are dumping milk, or yet farmers are not able to sell corn. That is just sort of a heartbreaking thing to me, that I really hope that some folks can use this as an opportunity, as a way to solve.